Hello, I'm Roger Sholey, a former reporter of the San Diego Union Tribune, here today with Peter Jensen't, who was a journalist for many publications, but today we're talking about his work with the San Diego Reader newspaper, and an article he wrote called San Diego Pickup Basketball Heroes, Courts, and Legends. So, first of all, are you a basketball player, and how did this come to be?
Well, I happen to be 6'8" tall.
Yeah,
so
you could have been a water polo player.
That's true. I could have been some other things, but no, volleyball's. Volleyball was not even, I don't know, something anybody played when I was a kid, and so basketball was it. I got sick of people asking me if I was on the team, if I was going to try out, and all that kind of thing. So eventually I did. And got to play for a team that in college that worked my way through college playing basketball and Division I and made it to the Western Regionals.
And where was that?
University of Pacific.
Oh, okay.
So we went to the Western Regionals in '67 and 1971. So technically we worked our way down to the Sweet 16 ultimately.
Wow.
But things were different back then. Not so many teams made it in. If you won your league, you got into the regionals. But be that as it may, San Diego is filled with several thousand people who are so passionate about basketball because they played in high school or college, or they just taken it up recently and they just realize it's something that you can go play at a Y, anywhere, almost anywhere, at noontime. Or in a league or a pickup game. So it was one of these things that the Reader is so good about, the subculture articles. And I couldn't believe it. It was the first article I did for the Reader. I talked Jim Holman, the editor and publisher, into, he said, okay, I don't know, give it a go, I mean, I suppose he could kill it anytime he wanted, but it turns out there's nothing more, sports is an endless number of stories and backstories and legends. Oh my gosh, does this city have legends and good names. Bosco, one player whose name was Bosco. Without the story in front of me, I can't remember the rest of his name, but and these were players that perhaps had never played in the NBA, or in some cases, this was back before the NBA had any kind of development leagues and things like that. I mean, I got here in '80, and so I played in the best city leagues in town. We had a good team and a bunch of Division I players, but it wasn't really about that. It wasn't about this. It was more about just the love of the game, The headline for the story was something that Red Auerbach said once, because the ball is round. It's so zen. The ball doesn't change. The hoop doesn't change. The hoop, by the way, is exactly the size of two basketballs going through it at exactly the same time. It looks smaller than that, or bigger to some people, but everything about it is thought through by Naismith, and when the ball leaves your hand, the squeak of the sneakers, all the trash talking, everything else, everything's suspended for this moment when it leaves your fingertips, and it just arcs silently toward either a make or a miss. And I think everybody who's ever played. And I got a tremendous number of comments about that story from ball players or people who'd actually scratched their head and wondered, why the heck did I just read 10,000 words about basketball? But I did, is because that aspect of the game and the characters that played it, especially a lot of those characters that played up at the old Muni Gym. There
in Balboa Park, right?
And on some of the playgrounds. I mean, even little nothing more than a basket in a parking lot, like up at what's known as Fletcher Cove in Solana Beach, but all the players called it Pillbox. The surfers, I think the surfers named it pillbox, or somebody named it pillbox.
I never played basketball, but I remember we lived in Port Loma, and on an alley, and there was a basketball hoop above our garage door, and the kids would all come over and play horse all the time.
Yeah.
Which is about as elementary as you can get for basketball.
How many games do you know where you can actually play by yourself?
Yeah.
You know, you're all by every NBA player today tells a story about how they're out there shooting baskets all by themselves, and it's, you know, you're being guarded by you know, so and so, and the clock's going down. It's 5, it's 4, it's 3, it's 2, it's 1. He shoots, she shoots. You know, it's good. Well, wait a minute. You're out here playing by yourself. You know, and it just, you know, and I played it. I hate to admit this, but I'm not kidding. 3 or more times a week from the age of 30 when I got here to San Diego. Well, I played in my 20s too, all the time. So 3 to 4 times a week from the age of 30 to the age of 69. I don't know how many games that is. Those are full court, most of those are all full court games. Just at the Y. Or the downtown Y, that great old historic building, which had a running track around the basketball court, and then way down in the bowels of that building somewhere was a swimming pool.
Right, the Armed Service YMCA, I think you're talking about.
Yeah, you didn't want to breathe the air down there by the swimming pool. God almighty, I don't think it had changed in 50 years. But that little court up there where if you didn't know what you were doing, you'd get your shot blocked by the running track overhang in the corners. You name it, it was a fun place, and it hit a nerve, and I'm just so thankful to the reader for publishing it, because I realized how many writers get a chance to just go out and talk to, you know, fellow lovers of something, a sport.
Well, Peter, thank you very much.
Yeah,
The story of a subculture of San Diego.
Thank you.